Thank you. The next question is in the name of Assembly Member Hamdache, but I'll just put you on notice, Ms. Mayor. I'm going to then take one question out of order because they're close related, and that's question 2061 in the name of Assembly Member Baker or Moema, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. Yes, you will be Assembly Member Moema. So, if you could first address Assembly Member Hamdache's
question. London is the greatest city in the world, and many look to us for examples of bold, decisive action to deliver genuinely affordable housing and tackle the housing crisis. At the same time, I understand the value of learning from other global cities and sharing good practice. For example, I recently met with the Mayor of Barcelona, where we discussed our city's work on housing affordability. My London Housing Mission, a partnership with the sector, London boroughs and government, also worked with the Barcelona Housing Mission in 2025 to hear about their work and learn from their experiences. In 2024, my Deputy Mayor for Housing and Residential Development, Tom Copley, visited Vienna to learn about their model of social housing finance and delivery. And just this month, he met with New York City's Deputy Mayor for Operations, Julia Kerson, to discuss shared housing challenges and solutions. It works both ways. That's why I'm pleased that we recently hosted the Mayor of Toronto, including showcasing the impressive work of the London Legacy Development Corporation at Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. I'm proud of our record of delivering genuinely affordable housing despite the extremely challenging economic conditions as a result of the disastrous legacy of the previous government, Brexit, and the ongoing impact of the pandemic. We far exceeded our target to support 20,000 council home starts across London, with nearly 30,000 council homes started across City Hall programmes since 2018, with over half of these now completed. As a result, this means we're building more new council housing than any time since the 1970s, and more than the rest of England combined. That's not an accident, as a result of decisions and policies made here in London since 2016. As a result of these successes, it's no surprise that other global cities are taking inspiration from London. Hackney Council's regeneration of the Colville estate has won plaudits in New York, and New York City has looked to my good practice guide to estate regeneration and has sought to improve resident participation and engagement with its own housing renewal programmes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to get on to the second scheduled question, I think, at this point. So it sounds like we're in agreement about the housing crisis and the need to apply all possible levers. I think as elected representatives, we see that crisis every day really starkly. You now have this City Hall developer that you're looking to action. I'd like to hear a bit more about your vision for what the City Hall developer can achieve.
Great question. One of the things that we've sought to do is no two cities are the same. Obviously, it's not apples and apples, but we have looked at what other cities have done to finance new house building, and we were really interested with how Vienna uses social house financing. So the advantage of having this City Hall Development Investment Fund is twofold. One is the ability for us to give grant, which is really important, circa £300 million potential grant. But secondly, more exciting, is we've got the ability to give very low interest rates loans. We've got £1.5 billion potentially available of capital. And so you can imagine if a can-do council says, the government's relaxed its public sector borrowing rules in relation to housing. Yes, there is the availability of the loan scheme from central government, but would you be interested in a loan from City Hall to help us build houses? Those are the sorts of things we're looking into. And also, finally, he'll be aware from his life as a councillor, there are some schemes that are stalled, viability reasons which we can go into. Is it possible for us to unlock those stalled schemes with a combination of either grant or loan?
Great. It sounds like we're drawing similar senses of inspiration, because I spoke with colleagues in Vienna yesterday, and it's a really starkly different model from ours. Now, they're building 100% affordable on state-owned land, and the Vienna Council owns 3 million square metres of land, and they're keeping hold of land rather than selling it off. And they're building homes that we would be incredibly envious of. The quality of social housing there is a race to the top rather than a race to the bottom. I know we don't have that same inheritance. In fact, we have the inheritance of Margaret Thatcher. But how can we get closer towards what Vienna is delivering?
So firstly, we collaborate with our colleagues. I don't want to sort of talk about competition, but he's taken me there. But in terms of numbers, obviously the numbers in London are just far bigger. But he's right to remind us of the heritage of Vienna. I mean, Vienna it goes back 100 years in terms of their social housing stock. He'll be aware. You've got to search for a resident of Vienna who's lived in private rented accommodation. They're all in municipal housing. So the legacy is very different. the potential is in 10, 20, 30 years' time, we could have that same sort of hinterland of social housing potentially with the right municipal leadership across London. I'll just remind him, because he knows this, but for others that don't watching this, there are 32 different bodies responsible for council house building in London, then housing associations. So we are trying to get more municipal house building, more of that council house building for reasons he'll appreciate, and I suspect we agree on this.
I am conscious that, Lord Kerslake did call for the City Hall developer to be incredibly interventionist, and I am a little bit worried that we are heading in an alternative direction, particularly with some of the emergency home building measures. Rather than raising the amounts affordable, we're cutting them, and we're going further away from that Vienna model. Do you see there's a way for us to get there, even in these economic situations?
I think his words of caution are salutary, and I accept the words of caution in terms of a short-term increase in house building going. We don't inadvertently sell the family jewel, the freehold land, which is really important. I want to reassure him we are in the process of a number of negotiations, which hopefully give him some comfort in terms of what we've managed to do to stimulate the market and get house building going, but really importantly, as far as he's concerned and I'm concerned, council house building going, and we should have some good news very soon.